I see dialogue trees as a kind of difficulty system in RPGs, where I have to navigate social situations to achieve the most satisfying outcome for a storyline, requiring emotional intelligence to decide on the correct path. Since I have autism, this is ridiculously hard for me, as sometimes characters lie and I don't pick up on it. However, those games are my favourite branching narratives, because they're never black and white choices, and they force me to engage with the narrative. The key to these dialogue systems, however, is that you have to actually be able to win them by achieving the ending you desire. This brings us to the curious case of Karlach in Baldur's Gate 3, which is an impossible dilemma to solve. Despite the labyrinth of routes available within the game, the only endings you can achieve for Karlach's character arc are either returning to Avernus, becoming a Mind Flayer, or agonizing death. None of these options feel narratively satisfying to her storyline for several reasons, and it's so strange that a game lauded for the variety of its choices and endings seems intent on ensuring one of its most lovable characters suffers an unfortunate conclusion. So why did Larian make it so you can't save Karlach from her terrible fate? Does the game position Karlach as someone who deserves to be in agony? No, not at all. She and Will are the only companions with a lawful alignment, so what's up with the punishment? Maybe Larian is trying to show us that life is cruel sometimes, and that no matter how you may struggle with the threats life throws at you, there are just some things you can't overcome. I mean, the infernal engine is an allegory for a terminal illness, so maybe she's a tragic character that you're supposed to form a deep attachment to, and then lose no matter what you decide. But that's cheating! You can't decide the ending for me. Didn't you lock your writers in a room for months on end, only feeding them bread crusts and sugar water so you could make the most complex branching narrative seen in a decade? What do you get out of constantly forcing one character to have a bad ending, no matter what I choose? Shouldn't I be rewarded if I complete her quest and treat her compassionately? Isn't that how this works? Larian isn't subverting expectations by not letting you save her, they're blatantly cheating. It's like they've made a text adventure game that can't be won, because there's no way for Karlach to have a satisfying conclusion. If she was ill-tempered around us and her character arc was getting revenge on Gortash and being hateful to everyone around her because she was going to die anyway, then having her come to terms with her impending death and having her die no matter what would have worked so well and been a devastatingly tragic moment. But her companion quest is all about finding a cure. She desperately wants to live, and she wants to live with you by her side as her romantic partner. While you can go to hell with her, the fact that she can't have a 100% happy ending like all the other companions feels needlessly cruel. Now, all of them are good people deep down, but their flaws make it plausible that they might go astray and have an ending that they don't enjoy. Karlach's flaw isn't personality-based like the others, it's the fact that she can't touch anyone. That's not a good enough reason to make saving her impossible. Well, I suppose her character flaw is present, but only in Act 3, when she learns that she can't be saved. She flies into a rage and vows to end Gortash, so Larian abruptly switches her plotline from one of healing to one of hate. Now, at this point, I was expecting that once we killed Gortash, we would discover he had a family or something to make Karlach wrong. Her revenge was just another failure like her resurrection, but no, Gortash was a monster to the very end, yet Karlach still feels empty afterwards. I can't say I've ever killed someone in revenge publicly, but during a game of dodgeball, when I threw a ball into one of my bullies' faces so hard his face swelled before picture day, I felt on top of the world because I felt absolutely no sympathy for him. And with how enraged Karlach was at Gortash whenever he was brought up, I can't imagine why she feels so empty about giving him what he rightly deserves. Revenge is only tragic when you learn that your victim wasn't as bad a person as you believed. But that just goes to show why it's so stupid that Karlach has to die, and I know one of you is going to comment that you can save her by turning her into a Mind Flayer, but that's not a real solution to the problem. And deep down, you know that's a worse fate than death. But back to the point, if Karlach's journey does end in a sense of hollowness after killing Gortash, then it's just kicking her while she's down to have her die at the end as well. You gave the kindest character the worst ending. That doesn't make sense, and it isn't narratively satisfying. Karlach is a phenomenal character, as are the rest of the Illithid-ridden crew, but in a group filled with cultists, murderers, and barbarians, why is it that the only person we can't help is the one who's the kindest to us? I'll be back in 2 days. In the meantime, here's a video about the worst things you can do in Baldur's Gate 3.